guys, I'm here at GenCon 2016 at the Renegade booth with Jordan and Mandy, designers of this incredible game, Lotus. Guys, tell me how this thing works. I'm so intrigued by it.
Sure. So Lotus is a game that my wife and I designed together. It's a game of growing flowers in a communal garden.
And say no more.
Yeah.
I'll take one.
Yeah, and then you're also vying for area control of those flowers as they grow up with your insect guardians. But it's pretty simple. It plays out in about 30 minutes. And so essentially the idea is that every player is going to have a player deck, and that player deck is going to show their color and their insignia. With that insignia, you're going to know who you're taking over or who you're controlling. So I'll be the dragonflies, red will be the ladybugs, and so on and so forth.
Got some caterpillars here and some butterflies.
Yeah, and so we're going to be playing cards on a communal garden. Essentially, the idea is that the cards are going to have a little bit of information. The number is going to tell you the number of petals that are needed to complete that flower.
Okay.
And then there's going to be a little shaded area on the right that'll show you where the next card goes to be able to kind of make it work like a little analog kind of loading bar there. So the idea is that there are 3 petal flowers all the way up to 7 petal flowers, and that's the points you're going to get when you complete them is the number of petals it takes. So the idea is you'd love to be the one to place the last petal on a flower, because when you do, let's see if I can find one here, then you get to keep all the petals for that flower. So for instance, if blue were to play right here, that would be the last petal in that flower. Blue's going to pick all those petals and keep them. At the end of the game, every petal is 1 point. So pretty simple scoring, okay. But also we're vying for area control of those petals. So I mentioned you have a player deck. Your player deck is going to have your insignia on every one of the cards in that deck. Now sometimes it's going to have 1, sometimes it's going to have 2, but it's always going to have your insignia on it.
Okay.
So when you're playing cards, like red played these 2, she's already got 2 control here, and then she also moved one of her little red ladybugs there. That gave her a 3rd unit of control. So right now she's controlling that pretty well.
Okay.
She doesn't mind that I come in here and finish. I'm going to pick all 3 of those petals. That's for me. That's 3 points. She's going to get her choice of reward for having control because she's 3 to my 1. So for control, she gets to pick either one of 3 special powers in her color. She can get an extra card in her hand. That'll be hers for the rest of the game. She can also get the ability to play more cards on an action or for her turn. Nice. That lets her, if she has a lot in one hand, she can play them out more rapidly.
Start making those flowers happen.
Or she can get an Elder Guardian. This is the Elder Guardian. He's a little older, a little wiser, a little more gray, but that's okay because he's worth 2 control every time you place him, right? So you're able to really overwhelm things. So in this instance, for instance, blue is 3 to 2. Well, red can swoop in here. That's 2 actions right there. Now it's pretty significantly controlled by red.
And so as you gain control of the flowers, you get rewarded whenever they get picked, even if you're not the one who picks them.
Right. The other thing I didn't mention was, so you have your choice of either one of your special powers or a 5-point scoring stone. So you can just go for points or abilities.
Points.
Yep. Beautiful. And there's a break-even point. So at about, for a 3-petal flower, I'm going to get 3 for completing it. She could get 5 for owning it. And a 7-petal flower, which is the Lotus flower, then I would get 7 for completing it, she would get 5. So there's times when you want to own, there's times when you want to be the completer, but no matter where you are, you feel like you're participating.
And you definitely want to be both. If you can complete a flower that you're also controlling,
that's certainly ideal.
Right? That makes perfect. So when the game starts, is there like a couple of petals out already? Do we place petals to get started?
No, so this is what we have set up for the convention for demoing, but it starts with a blank slate, and then the first person lays the first petal. You can always plant a new flower if there's not one available, but if there's one being worked on, you have to finish it until it's done. So the game just starts with a blank garden. It grows into a unique work of art every time, and then the board pops up and changes a little bit as you're playing, so it's really neat.
So tell me, you guys said you were working on this for a couple of years, and then it got picked up by Renegade whenever you showed them at GenCon last year?
Yeah, it was actually a year from this week.
So cool. What was the design process like, particularly for you two being a couple, and was it just like a fun thing? Was there a lot of conflict, a lot of hostility?
Yeah, there were a couple of notable disagreements on. It was really funny. There's actually a story in GTM, I think, next month. But we had a really interesting argument over butterfly power in a public space that drew some weird looks. But it was really neat. We worked on it for about 2 years. It was important that we get the visual piece right because it's kind of unique that way. But it's also, like, it went through a few iterations on theme. For a little while you were building gears instead of flowers, and you were trying to repair one of the 4 sides of Big Ben, and we all sat around Big Ben. But that wasn't as visually appealing, and it felt more organic.
Natural.
Right.
It was such a natural look when we had just just the plain cards, you know, that we started with, that looks like a flower.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it kind of
Perfect, yeah, it makes sense.
And then we wanted to make sure it was really tight. So when a game that has this few movable parts, it has to all work.
Yeah.
So you end up with something that feels simple but was really complicated design. So we went through a ton of possibilities until we settled on something that was really tight.
Well, what is your favorite thing, Jordan, about this game? I'll start with you, and then I'll ask you as well, maybe.
So one thing I really love is that, so some set completion games, you always feel bad if you place the second to last card, right? Like there's no impetus to act. Like you feel like you're forced to do something. In this game, you're always gaining area control when you're playing, so you're just as excited to play the second to last card as the last card. But there's also that ability for whoever plays next to, if they have a 2 insignia card, you can always jump in and maybe ninja it out of the way. So it's kind of neat.
Mandy, what about you?
My favorite part is deciding what to take as my reward.
Nice.
Because we've played this countless times, and there's still not just like one mix that's perfect that can always win. So sometimes he'll just go straight for points every time and skip all the special powers. But I like combining the powers. Different combinations of 2 powers I think are really interesting because you can have a lot of cards in your hand and then also have the ability to play more for 1 action. So having those together can be even more powerful.
Yeah, and then you sweep in that late game,
Yeah.
It's like,
that's
oh,
really
here comes
true.
Mandy, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's a timing thing for sure.
I think that's where for me, the different strategy comes in each game, where I'm thinking, oh, okay, I want to play again, and next time I'm going to try going for the Elder Guardian first.
Excellent.
And so I think that's where it can get pretty fun.
Well, thank you guys so very much for taking the time.
Yeah.
This is Lotus from Renegade Studios. Jordan and Mandy on the design here, and it looks just simply beautiful. You guys have to see these cards and apparently play on a wooden table. That's what really makes this game happen. Thanks for watching, guys. We got more coming from GenCon 2016.